Yo, bartender.
Bar's closed.
Hey, yo, bartender, what's good, man? Let me get a drink, man. Let me get a shot.
Hey, man, I know you just put up to the bar, but we closed.
Come on, man. You gotta be able to give me a shot, man. Come on.
You look like you need a drink, man, but I hate to tell you this, man. We about to close.
So you mean to tell me all these people out here, they got drinks and they got shots, but I can't get nothing. The bar closed that soon?
Okay, man, I don't know what else to say. I got this shorty half my age at the crib, and I'm trying to get to it. But last call was 10 minutes ago.
You know what? It's alright. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it.
All right. Tell you what, I'm gonna get you one drink, cause it look like you need
one drink. Alright, I can do one drink. I can do one drink, cause I really yeah.
Hey, man, anything, man. Look like you got a lot on your mind and you need a friend right now. Pour it on me. Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.
All right, welcome to Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome.
One of the things I want to say is brought to you by Dispose LLC. There's a great garbage company. They're doing great things. And one of the things I got to tell you is we're making great changes, and the name is going to be one of the things to change.
Okay.
Got to hold my breath to tell you because I can't tell you just right now. I'm giving a little secret, and I'm stringing y'all along for a reason. We're doing big things, and by the time it all come out, it all doesn't happen. And I like to make sure some things actually happen before I tell you about everything. Position change. The company is definitely on the move, and I love to be able to tell you all the things that I'll be over. But instead of bragging, let me handle my job, do my job, and just understand if you like what I did with Dispose, you'll like what I'm doing in the future. So stay in tune with me and stay on Dispose website because it will show you the change, and you'll see exactly what I'm doing. Now, I got to get back to you, y'all, with the man that's been rocking with me for over 5.5 years. This man comes in with a smile each and every time. Craftmatic, how you doing tonight, big baby?
I'm doing lovely, smooth, Jay.
Ooh, that man come in every time. Like
Always, man. Always.
like
bro.
$1 million.
Always. Gotta stay on it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't stay on it, life will drag you down. So just stay on it. You know what I mean?
Stay excited.
Man, a lot of my my attitude, my atmosphere just comes from my prayer life, man.
Okay.
To be honest with you. You know what I mean, I spend a lot of time, so to speak, in the clouds. A lot of time with the Lord. You know, and I think that's necessary in order to have a peaceful heart.
All right.
You can't have a peaceful heart in this crazy world.
That's right.
Your mind has to elevate to the heavens, and you operate in the heavens. You know what I mean? You have to get life done, but keep your mindset at a place of peace, at a place of love, at a place of comfort.
Look up, not down. That's right.
There you go, man.
You
Look up,
hear
not down. There you go. So I'm doing well. How are you tonight, Smooth Jay?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I gotta admit, all the things that I got going on, I am so blessed. And sometimes I gotta sit back and say, you know, no matter how tired I get, I say, man, you know something, when I asked for this, I swear I didn't know what I was doing. And all y'all that might feel what I'm saying, you still gotta push forward.
Yes.
The best game I can tell y'all is I love spades. And the best way I can tell y'all, I've been playing with a bad hand for a long time.
Yeah.
And everybody said without no spades you can throw it in, but any of y'all real card players know if you got a face card, you got to play it out.
You gotta play it out.
I always had a face card, so I had to play it out. But what I learned is, the more I played, the more I realized I was able to talk people out of some things, and my partner had me. And when I really found out, God had me overall.
Right.
So I kept playing, even with that bad hand, and we was able to keep going. And I was able to win some, and I unfortunately lost some. But what I will tell you, when I finally got a hand, I learned how to play it better because I wasn't used to having it. So I don't get excited, and that's where I feel like this new position and everything. It's not a time to get excited. You play with the same intensity.
That's right.
That's what he taught me when I was getting them back hands, and I was wondering why. When I wanted to quit, he ain't never asked me to quit. He asked me to keep going because when it's time for you to get a good hand, you'll know how to handle it.
There you go.
Right.
And that's what life is teaching me, and that's the lesson behind me continue going. But I want that same thing to happen for you. So don't let the shit talking fool you.
Right.
It is just to get you off game if you allow me to get in your head. But watch what I do. And that's why I got a lot of people fooled. Because you believe in the hype and you ain't understanding the work. There's work behind
There's
this.
some serious work going on. A great way
Okay.
to introduce our show. This is Bar Talk with Jay. My name is Craftmatic. This
Yes,
is my
yes.
boy Smooth Jay. We got Rock Diesel in the house tonight. He's of course Queen Anonymous.
We didn't know this.
Down.
But she got to be seen one day, bro.
Down.
This getting
We
real
down,
old.
man.
Yeah, we're gonna gonna have to put you
Yeah,
on the
we
camera.
gotta come over there.
Right?
We gotta go, man.
But we want to thank you folks for being here
Yes.
with us tonight. Just our opportunities to be leaders in our own community. We don't get paid for this. We
Nope.
just come in here trying to make something big happen here so that it can help you all folks grow out there living a real life.
Yes.
And so we want this to be kind of therapeutic. You know, ask yourself during this show, how is this helping me? How is this hurting me? What decisions do I need to make? How does Jay's stories and opinions make a difference?
Yeah.
And we want you to just get clear about some things as you listen to this show, because we're
Yes.
going to be talking about a fabulous subject. In fact, let me go ahead and give it to you right now.
Give it to him.
It is goes like this. Going into business with someone you're in a relationship with. Good idea or bad idea? Hold your peace, hold your peace, hold your peace. If you've lived a little life, you got a lot of passion about this one,
Yes,
right?
I do.
And so as we talk about it, we want you folks to just learn and grow. And we're so grateful that you're here with us tonight. We always start the show off with a prayer. And I'm going to attempt to lay us a nice little prayer out
Okay,
here,
all
shall
right.
I, Jay?
What you gonna give it to him?
Well, Jay,
How you gonna give it to him?
this one's going to be a little different.
Okay.
I'm going to try to keep it down to the fundamentals, right? But ultimately what we want tonight is we just want a life that's
Hold on. Let me change
fun
it up for
filled.
you.
Go ahead.
Let me change it up for you. Remember the word last night?
I
Tell me
can't,
the letters.
I can't remember it because I'm working right now, but go ahead.
Because we was talking about how the world seems that we losing the fundamentals. We're not sticking to the things that we was taught. It seems like now we're going off of trends instead of trend of knowing the right thing to do.
Yes.
We're trending on disrespect and we're forgetting about respect. The things that we was brought up on is not the things that we're doing today. And because again, to me, it's just easier not to than remember all the stuff that was taught to us to do. And I really feel like this is one of them times that we need to turn around and pray to get back to what He has for us, because we done lost our way. Because if you looking at your kids and you look at your kids and you say, well, your kids ain't got it, half the time you didn't have it either. But then you want to blame them and you ain't changing anything, and then you wonder why they not changing, and you wonder why we in this state. I really feel like because we get to get back to the Father and ask the Father back for His hand and His grace to get us back on path for what He has for us, not to what we want. Our greed is showing through our kids' ambitions to tell you their entitlement. Their entitlement is coming from the ambition of your wealth. And we're nowhere near as wealthy as we need to be because we're getting lazy. I want us to get back to our drive, and we will get back to what we need to be. Our kids will be able to see it in our work, not just in our action. Because remember back in the day, do what I say, not what I do. Yeah, that shit didn't work. Because if I see you not doing right, I'm going to do what you do. So my whole thing is let's do right, let's do better, and then they'll see better, and hopefully we'll make that change. And that's one of the problems I see. More people talking, less people doing. And I know that ain't just a real prayer, but it's one of the things I definitely notice. And I like to see some things change, and that's what I believe prayer would do, because we're not doing it.
Yeah.
We're talking, but we ain't doing it.
Yeah.
We talk about pastors, we talk about people, but we don't look at ourselves. Again, he's out there preaching, but what are you doing? It's easy for me to talk about him, but at least he got up there to do something. And can we do something?
Yes.
But we always looking for somebody to lead us. And that's what they always say, looking for a leader. Half that's in you. You following what ain't even for you. But then you want somebody to lead you. When are you going to believe in you? It starts you. But yet you're looking for somebody else. Don't be scared to realize you have a lot of power within you. Let that power show. Get back to prayer. Get back to understanding of you. For I can see the best you. For I can be the best me. I'm too worried about you and your craziness than me. That's worrisome all the way around. And I'm just getting to a point. I would rather just see the best of a person. And that's not the worst. I'm assuming the worst because I watch the news. So stop watching the news. So if you're showing it to me, it's because that's what you choose to. But don't tell me because of what social media told you. Because I stopped some of that. And you're still showing that to me. Shootings, killings, senseless. Why?
True. Yeah.
And I'm going to throw another one out there. So we're talking about prayer. There's the one thing that somebody said to me that will probably stop a lot of things, because they were saying a lot of police officers are shooting black people. So how about all black people go out and get a life insurance? Now I know this sounds crazy, but I just want y'all to just listen to me. Everybody go out and get a life insurance. One thing that y'all fail to realize, if you get shot by a police officer, okay, the life insurance company will investigate that shooting. And if it's a wrongful shooting, they don't want to pay out. They will investigate.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
But the family will still be left with wealth. I promise you, it wouldn't be as many shootings when they keep paying out all these claims. Because one of the things, most people don't have money for lawyers. But if you got a life insurance, it's automatic. They do not want to pay out. They're going to investigate.
Yeah.
That's that money right there to the side. But the family gets the money from the life insurance. The police officer will be held somewhat accountable to the life insurance agents that's going out to investigate. That's automatic. A lot of us is not going after the police officers. We're not suing. And I'm not saying about everybody, but I'm just saying this is a way that a lot of things will stop automatically within a process that's already out there. It makes sense. It's just a lot of us don't do it. But again, if we all got life insurance, and then you automatically start seeing wealth being brought back to the family off of some wrongful stuff that we can't totally control. But I promise you, it's going to be other hands that will make some things stop because they ain't going to want to pay out.
They ain't going to want to pay out.
So again, let's get why.
And that's a fabulous
That's
idea.
a really good idea.
Wow.
I can't even take claim to this. I heard it. I liked it.
That's something really serious right there. Yeah, man.
So what we should all do is go out and get insurance policy.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't all got help, if you don't have life insurance,
it's not expensive.
go get life insurance, right? And if something happens to any one of them, especially if it's wrongful, they're going to make sure you get paid, right? One way or another. I love that, Jay. I tell you what comes to mind as I was hearing you give your dialogue. Things like that is, you started off talking about the fundamentals and the basics, and then you start talking about things like that. See, these are the new fundamentals. You see, the old fundamentals, all of the old fundamentals don't work anymore. The old way doesn't get the job done anymore, right? You used to could have one income homes, you know,
right,
and prosper.
Yeah,
We saw one income families. We saw fathers buying homes, buying a couple of cars for the family, buying cars for the kid. They were sending kids to college. I'm talking about $30,000, $40,000 a year. They're making it happen, right? So this idea is one of the new fundamentals on how we can protect ourselves as a people and as a family, right? And I want to get back to that conversation that it seems like the fundamentals are fading from us, right? Just if you think about things just like integrity, you know, now we got to fight for the truth. Now we got to always be scratching and clawing and trying to figure it out. And we got to watch the guy, you got to watch the guy at the convenience store because he might slip a quarter out of your change.
right.
That's real.
That is.
That's real, and it's happening every day. And so the basics and the fundamentals, they have shifted, and we oftentimes aren't even aware of what they are. But the premise of our discussion last night was that it seems like young people don't have manners. They're not offering the same etiquette. They're not offering the same etiquette in today's world as we had then. And so we asked ourselves the question, well, does it really pay to be nice? Does it pay to say sir and thank you and yes ma'am and no ma'am? Is that really paying in today's world? See, we in the old school knew that it pays because I'm always selling myself. I'm always selling my relationship with the guy who just walked in the door. I'm always selling myself with my grandmother who's going to help me over and over and over again. I have to always be making sure I maintain these relationships. Right. And because the world has become so scattered, particularly through technology, that a lot of these young folks aren't learning those skills. And I oftentimes wonder, where are they going to get them from if they're not getting them from their home? And is it going to make a difference in their life? We think that they're going to lose something if they don't have the nice guy mannerisms. But perhaps that's what God needs them to do right now. Not be speaking to everybody when you walk in the showroom. Just go in there and put your place, stand in your place and speak what you got to say. And you don't have to say hello and be looking at everybody and be friends. Our world was a very socio-political world, in terms of when you walked into your neighbor's house, you wipe your feet and you spoke, and you asked if you could have a glass of water, and you would, can I go outside? And yes, ma'am. And it's not the same thing for our kids nowadays. And we can't necessarily think that it's bad because the world has changed, right?
Right.
The world doesn't.
world changed a lot.
If you are sitting with a young child, I said this last night. If you're sitting with a young person and getting ready to have dinner with them, you don't know them very well, but you're getting ready to have dinner, and so you sit down with your plate, and somebody else sits down with their plate, and the kid sits down with their plate. The kid might just start eating.
Yep.
But the kid doesn't even know to recognize that these people are waiting on him. They're waiting until everybody is seated at the table so we can all eat together. You don't just sit down and start eating, right? That's a form of etiquette. But I would imagine there are a lot of young people who are unaware of those basics, right? And the conversation was real deep last night.
Yes.
And so we gotta go ahead and take our first break. But the fundamentals of life does still work. They just may be in a different package.
Yeah. Can I get a joke?
And so.
Can I jump in? When you said the etiquette, I remember a time when one of my brothers told me he went out to a fancy restaurant with his woman and he ordered a la carte. And when the little entree came out, she grabbed it and just started eating out of it. She didn't know. And she thought it was just for her. Of course, it's for everybody, but she didn't know. So again, it goes right back to how you go out with a person and you think everybody knows things. That's not always true. We talk about an older couple. So again, it just goes back to the laughter time that they laugh about it now. But it's a laughing point now. But at that point, it was kind of embarrassing because he was like, no, that was like for everybody. Like, for real? It didn't look like it was just enough for me.
And
So
you don't know. You don't know.
You don't know.
But
You
it
just
can
don't
be
know.
ugly, right?
But it can be funny, too.
It is time for us to take our first break. I want you folks to stay tuned. We're going to be right back with more Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome back with Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome back.
Man, I can tell you, even during the breaks, all we can do is talk about these crazy things that always seem to happen. So, let's get back to what we like to talk about best. What's the topic, man, and how we going to change the world?
All right. So you're going into business with someone
Okay.
that you're in a relationship with. Is that a good or a bad idea?
All right. On the upfront, I ain't never thought it was a good idea.
Right.
I've done it. I've done it with my wife. I've done it with others. And all I can tell you, it takes a strong, dynamic team to be able to keep that together. And a lot of time, it can cause a lot of stress because you're right there next to that same person that you got to deal with. And normally you don't have to deal with. Like me and Kraft go in business, and we're going to fight it out, and we're going to deal with the business. But at the end of the day, Kraft's going to go home, I'm going to go home. And we got some alone time away from each other so we can deal with our regular lives. And then when we get back, we hopefully energize. And then we're going to go back into this fight again with each other in the world to get our product out. Okay?
Okay.
It's difficult when you with that person that you love and you're in there and you're fighting. And then you go home and you're talking about it again. So it's hard to get to recharge. Now, when you charge up about something, it's a lot different. But most things take a lot of work to get it moving. So that's a lot of stress. And a lot of times you feel like, well, I go home and I won't talk about it. But it don't seem to happen that way. Talking going to happen because you get frustrated in the office about certain things and you want to talk about it. Well, if you remember, if you wasn't working together, you might refrain, or it'd be a different situation because I don't know nothing about it. You just let me know how your day went, and I'm just really listening to hear you.
Right.
But when I got to hear you about the business, I really got to be listening when I really don't want to. Because I know that, I mean, we sit there, we went over this, but now I got to hear it again.
Right.
Because you and your feelings now about certain part of it, and it wasn't expressed then, and I'm feeling like when we get home, this is the haven. When we get here, we got to stop some things and get back to us. But if you would have paid me some attention when I was talking to you in the office, I wouldn't have to bring it home. And that's where some of that go left the center. So I don't want to talk about anybody who's been through this. You know, I'm telling you the truth. That's where some things go left. And I don't like it that way. I really like it where we're in the office and we cut ties and we let that stay in the office. We go home, we have a regular life, recharge. But when we get back in there, we are in a position and a point where we can push forward. But if you ever get in an argument with your woman at home and then you think you're going to leave her and go to work and her right behind you, well, she going to be behind because she works with your way. It's even worse. So that's one of the things that I look at. Can't say it's not always the wisest. I can only say it didn't work well for me. I don't speak on anybody else. I just want to make sure some things is in place that y'all think about before you go that direction. Because it's harder. I'm not going to say impossible, but I will say if your wife is your best friend and y'all share a vision together, it's different when one person has a vision and another person is following. When you both share the same vision, you might have a decent chance because you're feeding off each other.
Right.
Most times, it's one person's vision, other person is feeding, and that person is feeding gonna have an opinion on how it should be, and it's your idea. So now it becomes a struggle.
Right.
I thought you understand how I wanted it, and it's like, well, no, it's ours. But it's hard to say ours when I put everything in it. You just my woman. You right there riding with me. So I don't really want you to speak. You don't want me to speak, and it become more of a and it is, and that's what happens a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because I know you get the ego. Well, and I don't pay for the bill, I don't pay for everything, and me and you just been talking about it, but you've been feeding me, and you've been my fan, and all of a sudden you feel like you can just tell me how it should be. Not saying you're wrong. I'm not probably listening because I get offended. Because I know what all I put into it, and you ain't really put hardly anything. You was just there. You know, and I ain't gonna say you just riding the coattails. I'm just being honest. You didn't put a lot in because it was my ideas. You just made sure I was fed, I was looked after, and that is important. Please understand. That right there is a key factor that I will tell people to get out there you go and realize you have somebody supporting you, and it ain't always there. It's nice when it is.
Famous words. Girl, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. You wasn't with me shooting in the gym.
You said, but you would let me laying up to make that
baby. Yo, shout out to Rick Ross, man.
Boy, listen, I heard.
Shout out to Drake.
I heard all the stuff that goes on when you try to have a relationship. We try to have a business in a relationship, right? You did an excellent job, man. You almost nothing else to say. We're going to elaborate a little bit more on what you shared, Jay. But he said it's not a good idea, and we should probably talk about that, right? I think we all learn it at a young age. I tried to go into business with one of my best friends. We was 12 years old, 13 years old, and he just wasn't a hard worker. He had the equipment though.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why you went in anyway. So, he had stuff with me. I ain't had nothing.
Well, listen, I had to be humble when it came time, because when he wanted to pick his basketball up and go home, that was his equipment. Right? And so I learned a lot in those young days. I learned that, hey, just because he your good friend don't mean that y'all gonna be able to get things done together. And it is a shame, but I think it is natural, right? I think it's natural and normal. I think it's universal for it to kind of be that way, because just like you said, Jay, you reach a point where there's no venting space.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know too much about me. You know what I'm saying? You come home telling me what I should did yesterday and what I did last month and how I do it. You know what I'm saying? And most people, their business world is kind of private.
Right.
Husbands and wives come home and they live a family. They might talk a little bit about what happened, but most of the stuff that happened out there, the hurts and the pains, the tough stuff, the difficult decisions and getting in trouble at work, all that's your personal stuff. And you don't have to hear about it when you come home. But if you work together, you're going to have to hear about all of that. Right. And when you bring those two together, it can be a dynamic that almost, I think ultimately what it does is just squeezes two people to the point of no return, right? Because now not only do I have to love you, but I gotta like you and I gotta work with you. Right? If I can get rid of one of them, if you ain't working together, you know what I'm saying? You know, I cannot love you and like you and still work with you, right? Or I can not work with you and then I can like and love you. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get 2 out of 3.
If you selling products and you don't have to be around each other,
Come on now.
then you can have a business together
Oh,
because
that's
you're
right.
going your way
Perhaps.
and I'm going my way.
Perhaps.
And you got your numbers up on a certain level on your side, and you're dealing with your customers your way, and I'm dealing with my customers
Right.
mine.
I like that.
So
but
what
let's get a
happens-
devil's advocate.
Yeah.
What if happens your numbers is low?
It's low.
Oh,
And
Well,
I
it
feel like
doesn't
you out
really
there
mean
flirting
that.
and you ain't
It
selling no
doesn't-
product.
no,
You know what I'm saying?
no.
You dressing nice. You spending more money on your outfit, but you ain't bringing no money in this office. Now I can see it because we working together. And to you, I gotta change my image and I gotta sell more. But I'm seeing you ain't selling shit.
Right.
But you gonna keep coming here buying stuff,
Not.
telling
Right,
me
that's
how
real.
I'm just doing this,
real.
and it's just a slump right now. But it's about to get
Yeah,
better.
when they
But I'm
start on
noticing
that
you
thing,
still
but
spending some money.
listen, when 18 now, like okay, like say me and you got a business together.
Uh-huh.
You want to sell T-shirts, I want to sell the shoes, right? We're not gonna be vexed at each other because your shoes didn't sell and your T-shirts anymore, because it's 2 different things.
It's 2 different things. Remember, I
We're
get
talking
that,
about
but
work.
you ain't selling.
Yeah, here we go. There's that scenario. It happens in every relationship, right? There's one person who's really outgoing and outspoken, and the other person is kind of introverted. You're a little more emotional. You know, they handle. Opposites attract. That's how couples come together. It's that way in just about every single relationship. So the outgoing one, if she's the outgoing one, she fired up. Oh, she got 10 appointments for tomorrow. What you doing? Oh, I'm going into the office. You going to the office? Hey, you ain't making no money. Hey, baby, you need to be talking to clients, right? Don't spend they say the average salesperson across the country only spends 10% of their average day selling. The rest of it is doing some other money, right? They only spend 10% of their time in front of the customer closing deals. Well, every sales manager's got a problem with that. We need to spend more time in front of the customer. So yeah, you can go to the office and you can make nice charts and reports, and you know, you can clean up the office and you can make sure everything is situated and check the books. But I need you to be going out, getting in front of clients and getting on this paper. And I think that is the fundamental issue that often happens in every couple business. Every business that has a couple, I've seen women who are doing Mary Kay, and their husbands were going to support the business by doing X, Y, and Z. He has to bring people to the table too. He's got to bring potential customers out. But the wife finally figures out after a couple of years, he ain't gonna do shit. So let me just get on my grind and go ahead and get this paper. And so what happens is she end up making a conscious decision that I got to leave him behind. I know he's my husband. I love him to death. But let him just do those things that he do, and I'm gonna keep going to get this paper. Right? And sometimes that can cause disparity. Because the one going to get the paper do a little more traveling. They might get to spend a little more money. And now you're like, hey, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? You buying purchases. I'm making the paper. You see that big deal I put together last night? This, right? So there's a lot of dynamics that can happen when you're trying to do business with close people. It seems like the universe makes it difficult to do business with people you're close to. Right? I mean, think about when your cousins or uncle or sister or brother, somebody asks you for help. And you've had a wonderful relationship for years, and all of a sudden they ask you for help, which usually requires some money. And now you between you and your wonderful sister, or you and your wonderful best friend, and you and your wonderful mama, and there's a money issue. You just went into business with a family member, right? That can be very difficult. Right? Because they might not have the same intensity about paying you back because you're family.
Correct.
They may think they cannot pay you back for a while, and sometimes not even at all. You might keep hanging around them for months at a time, and they never mention the fact that they owe you money. And here's someone who you deeply love, you deeply cherish, you would fall off the end of the earth for. But they're disrespecting the relationship because they're not coming to you about what they owe you. They keep skirting. They keep skirting. Or you see them taking vacations and they owe you $1,500.
I mean, how many more knives you gonna throw in my back? Obviously, you know somebody I know because they ain't paid me back yet. I need that cash out.
We know about it.
Yeah, we do.
Say, Rock?
No, I just want to say, like, you know, if you ever deal with a person like that, you know, like, I'm nice, I'm cool, but you know, at the end of the day, I don't. My terms I like to use is you don't have to die to begin. If I'm able to pull out money and able to do things for you, you should be able to come back, and I should be able to receive things, even if it is on the back end. So I'm not being ignorant when I say I want what's mine. I'm being truthful. So at the end of the day, if you can't produce, I mean, you know, it is what it is.
What do you do? What do you do with those people who don't produce?
I mean, okay, put it this. If they don't produce, you know how you like to put people on the back burner.
Yeah.
You know how you just like to ignore them when they call. That's what you do, ghosting. That's what you do.
Start the
That's what you
ghosting
do.
effect.
Because at the end of the day, if it's not a value to you, it will hurt you. Understand what I'm telling you now?
Yeah. Listen, and going into business is not necessarily, 501c3 and tax. Sometimes it's loaning money to friends, or you got a neighbor across the street. I got a buddy of mine. He makes great money because he's highly intelligent and he produces a lot for the dealership. So he makes $300,000 a year, right? In his world, that's normal. But he got a lifestyle that supports it. He got 4 kids. He got a big house on the north side of town. He got the finest cars. He take a month off a year to go back home to Africa and take care of his family. He's home there. He has a law practice. He's a lawyer, by the way. He has a law practice, and he has a law practice here and a law practice there. So he's making great money. Mm-hmm. He says a neighbor of 10 years who he knew a little bit, had a few Christmas parties and a birthday. Things got tough, and the neighbor came over and wanted to sit down in his garage and asked to borrow some money. And he said, I just backed away. I played the fit. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I know you guy. You do a great yard. You keep your cars clean. You respect our neighborhood, but I don't know you. Right? And so now what you're about to do is I'm going to loan you money, and then I'm going to see you running from me for the next year. Right. And we are good neighbors now. We share the cookies at the holidays, and we do parties and block parties together and all that stuff. But I don't know you like that to be showing borrowing you money. That's going into business with them if you loan them that money.
We talking about business. It's presence. It's the words is presentation with what is it? Representation, something like that. That you know where I'm going with it.
Yeah,
right?
I know where you're going.
Okay, so you're supposed to show your presence and show yourself, but if you ain't doing that, what are you talking about? Because we're talking about money here, and I promise you, I love money. So
yeah, I do too. And let me tell you,
I like to keep mine.
And listen,
exactly.
I think it's time for us.
On the same thing now.
It's time for us to go to break. But
all right,
what is this conversation really about? How does money affect relationships?
No preservation without representation.
Powerful. We're going to take our next break, our final break. You folks stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Bar Talk with Jay.
All right, welcome back with Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome back.
Man, y'all going in kind of deep, okay?
It's some rich dialogue, man.
It is.
And we need this kind of dialogue, man, because there's some people going through stuff and they don't really know how to deal with it. Just imagine, I got a 25-year-old daughter, right? And she lives across country, right? And she has a very caring heart. She's smart. She's on her grind. Right. She's making it happen. But I don't know if she know all the good lessons of life. You know,
That 25 I imagine, you know.
yeah, and there may be some people, some girl she was friends with in college, and next thing you know, they talk about going into business and they want to do some hair or some earrings or some, you know, sell some travel. She don't know well enough, but she might think that she does, and that'll put the relationship at jeopardy, and it will also put the business at jeopardy. You know what I mean? It's just kind of the nature of things. The question we're talking about here tonight, folks, is going into business with someone you're in a relationship with. Is it a good or bad idea? And so far, you know, we're thinking that it's a pretty challenging idea.
It's not. It's representation with the preservation, like I just said.
Wait,
Oh, it's preservation with the representation, like I just said. You have to show up and show yourself accountable. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about a business adventure. I'm sorry, but I ain't got no love for you if you ain't producing no money. Because at the end of the day, I'm talking about my bread. I mean, not to spook nobody. Not to say that I don't care about you, not to say that I don't love you, but if you're not producing, because a business is about production, if you're not producing, hey, then you already know, man, take the back burner.
Let me just piggyback off of these wise words.
Okay.
Right? A relationship is about love. A business is
I
about
care
making
too.
that paper. You understand?
That's
Love
right.
and I care.
Them two separate worlds.
Two separate.
Completely.
And you mixing them
Two
up.
separate.
And when you start mixing them up, boy, it's a
It's
whole
the
lot
crime.
of trouble, right? I remember my father was one of the most prosperous people in the family.
Okay.
Right? He had 3 other brothers and some other people who was almost like brothers, you know, like cousins like brothers. And because he was so prosperous, you know, here we were. I'm probably 7, 8 years old, and we got 3 cars in the driveway, right? And you know, can't drive but 2 cars at a time. I ain't driving yet for another 6, 7 years. So all the friends and families think that they can ask my dad to borrow his car. And all of a sudden it just became this thing that if you were going to a big party or a major event or you were going to be in a parade, you would ask for my dad's Cadillac DeVille. You know what I'm saying? Cadillac Sedan DeVille while I go ahead and while I'm at it. And so I remember him being willing to give.
Okay.
And so for the first little while, he would let him borrow the car, and then I started noticing him saying, "Damn, they put no gas in it. Damn, they left it dirty. Damn, they always asking, they ain't even take care of the last time." And I'm just hearing this stuff in the background. I'm hearing him talk. Him and my mom. My mom was like, "Well, I told you shouldn't let him borrow it no more." You know what I mean? My
That's how
mom was
that
like,
go.
"I don't care, that's your brother. I'm gonna, put your foot down." You know what I mean? But my dad was like, "Nah, they helped me through the years. I'm not gonna turn my back on my brothers. So they continued to borrow and not take care of and all kinds of stuff, and it took my father actually distancing himself a little bit before they understood the reality of the situation.
Right.
And it wasn't that he was selfish. It wasn't that he was, but his stuff was coming back torn up. His stuff was coming back, dirty. His stuff was coming back empty. And it ain't but so many times when you send a full tank out and get it back empty that you're going to be ready to fill it up again before you send it back out. So
And you ain't paying nothing.
yeah, and so listen, that happens. Neighbors,
Bad business.
friends, and I call it business. We're calling it business. It's a form of business because somebody borrowed your lawnmower, right? You told stories about that many times. They
You
borrowed
gonna make
your
me remind me of
equipment.
my brother.
Yeah,
On air. Yeah, he borrowed it.
Yeah.
Now I gotta go borrow it back.
yeah.
Because he ain't gonna bring it back.
Oh my God.
We all got them in your family. Don't act like I got the only brother that borrows some shit
Okay.
and ain't never brought it back.
Right.
He ain't brought it back, ain't gonna try to. So I gotta act like mine don't work before I can borrow his. That's mine. If I can get my own stuff back.
Right.
I ain't say it on air.
Right.
Maybe he'll bring it back because he hear this.
Right.
Probably won't. He ain't been brought it back. That means it's a shame
Right.
that people feel like they don't have to because you got everything else. You got this, you got that.
Yeah.
But when you borrowed it, you came with that energy, man, I really need this if you can help me out. I ain't got it like how you got it. And I'll be like, well, I ain't always have it either, but, bro, you right. We bros. if you need it, you're right. I got another one. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So there you borrow it, and 3 years later, you don't even remember what you did.
You don't even remember borrowing it.
But yet, I'm like, remember that lawnmower? Like, what lawnmower you talking about? Oh, you bring up that one I borrowed a couple years ago? I'm like, yeah, the one that you ain't never wanted to return. Oh, there you go with that bull, man. You ain't like you need that lawnmower, man. You got all that other equipment deflecting from a responsibility of which you took and have no responsibility of trying to give it back because you don't have to because you feel like I don't want to. And that's where we go backwards. And I look, only thing I can tell y'all, if y'all go into business with family, anybody, contractual agreements.
And and you know what? It feels a little off.
Because I will sue your ass. I'm taking you straight to court. I'm not playing. I ain't got burned too many times.
Got taken too many times.
I'm not doing it.
I done got taken
Straight up.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You my own child. You going into this business contractual agreement. This what it's gonna be. It's gonna be written out. I want this amount of money and it's gonna be paid. Don't look at me like daddy. But I'm your son. You could be son. Yeah. You will be underneath my foot if you do not give me my money. Okay? Because I want you to do this the right way.
The heart will get in the way, and my heart has gotten in the way of strong business decisions on a number of occasions, right? Sometimes you get sucked in a little bit, and then you kind of let go, and you just hope for the best. You hope that they're gonna be the kind of person that you would be,
right?
But they don't end up like that,
Can I ask you a question, Brad?
Go ahead.
A woman said it best. What's love got to do with it? Got to do with it. And man, at the end of the day, man, you gotta hold people accountable, man. Contractual agreement, just like you said. I mean, we all gotta hold people accountable, man. At the end of the day, I feel like people try to take advantage because it's a whole kind-hearted state. And at the end of the day, it's almost like I ain't gotta put my foot on your neck, but I can give you that nudge to let you know, like, hey man, it ain't that. You see what I'm saying?
Watch this, Rob.
You see what I'm saying?
You're the perfect one to ask this question, right? So you loan some money to one of your boys.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, he kind of fading you, man.
He fading me.
And listen, y'all been friends since kindergarten, since middle school, right?
Yeah.
Okay, a long-term friend. You let him borrow some money. Now he kind of fade you. How do you deal with that? How do you deal that? You entered into a business relationship. How do you deal with that, Rob? I mean, do you just say to hell with the friendship, or do you try to?
You really want to know how I'm gonna deal with it?
I really want to
say. Check this out. Say, bro, you remember when you let me hold that? Oh no, better, bro. You remember that you had that? Yeah. But look, I need that. Ah, man, I'm going through something. Cool. But then I'm gonna show you how real I am. In the next 3 days, cause I'm not gonna let you pass. And then that third day, I'm gonna hit you up. Bro, I gotta hold something. Now, what I'm holding is what you got. If you can't give to me what I done gave to you, that let me know that you don't even hold yourself accountable. I hold myself accountable for everything.
So what you gonna do, Rob?
What you mean? I can do two things. I'm not gonna lie to you, I can do 2 things. My 2 things is this. I can get it out of you in a negative way, or I can tell you the truth. Man, I'd rather let you pass, because that little bit that you got ain't worth going after.
Okay, and that's probably the realest thing you could ever say about the subject, right? Because, and we've all been there, right? We've all taken a chance and loaned out something, gave something, and it didn't come back to us. And now we like, okay, now we really got to address the issue, right? Now you got to face these people from a business perspective. It's not that you don't love them or care for them, but now you got to say, hey, where my money at? You know what I'm saying?
All of it.
Yeah. What's going on here? Why do you think that you cannot pay me? You act like you don't want to pay me. You act like you don't have a responsibility to even mention it to me or talk to me about it or anything. Like, what's going on? We supposed to be family, Is that how you treat everybody, And ultimately it could spin out of control. Oftentimes it does spin out of control. Oftentimes those discussions happen and both parties leave feeling victimized. But the reality is that one person spoke up because they had to, because nobody else was going to speak up, and the other person got their feeling hurt by the truth.
Okay.
Right?
Let me speak up right now. I'm in a point in my life where I really don't need anybody to pay any money back that I ever loaned them. All right? I'm very blessed, and I'm in a point where I got to admit, I'm very happy where I'm at. But I'm gonna tell all y'all something right now. If y'all don't cash at me my damn money, don't call me my money. I'm so sick and tired of y'all borrowing from people and then you don't pay them back. Cause I'm blessed had nothing to do with you borrowing that money. Had nothing. It's just for the fact I didn't come put hands on you. The Lord have blessed me because He said, I know you're a fool and I know you'll go do what you don't need to do. And I did. I sat back and I tried my best to hold off to realize it ain't worth it. But I know for a fact they might have been going through something, but they disrespected when they never even tried. Even say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm late with it. Can I do this or I'm gonna do that? And they did nothing. But all they say is, "Oh, you was doing good, so it shouldn't matter to you." What the?
Hey, those are the users, man. Those are the people who don't care because they know that you got it at the end of the day. You still got to hold them accountable too because at the end of the day, if you're willing to borrow something and not pay it back, guess what? I promise you, I tell you like this. Hey, the door is right there. I mean, there's no other better way to explain it. And listen, if you can accept that little bit from me and not pay me back, I promise you, I won't give you nothing no more.
Yeah, and listen, it is a black and white issue to look at, but it's always gray when you're talking to the person, right? It's always gray because you gonna throw that person out, but that's your emergency run to watch your kids when you got to get that extra shift.
But you can get that emergency
You can go and pop off at the mouth, but you're gonna hurt yourself. Listen. I gotta have some empathy for people who do wrong, because we all do wrong.
All right.
Right?
In the midst of doing wrong, we don't always want to do wrong. I have forgiven so many of those debts because I can see in their eyes they really didn't want to do me that way, but they weren't strong enough to just come out and say the shit. And I just had empathy for them. I'm like, man, I know you. And listen, they go on and mention it for months and years later, man. Months and years later, they still talking about. I'm like, man, we good. They was like, nah, man, you know, you really looked out. And so, and people will see the pureness of your intention. You know what I mean? But you know, when somebody falls short, you don't just throw them out of your life. You don't just kick them out because they fall short. There's usually some rationale. There's usually some understanding that used to happen. There's usually some praying that need to happen. We don't treat people like we don't just throw people away. That's
why I got you in my life, man. Because I need you. Because I'm throwing their ass away. I'm tired. I'm so sick and tired.
Here's the thing, Joe J. See, you're not going to experience that anymore because you're not going to loan the money anymore.
No,
you're not going to put yourself in that position.
You're right.
Right.
Correct.
The person who is close enough to you, who have been vetted, and you loan them the money, you have pure confidence, without a shadow of a doubt, that they're going to take care of you, and more than likely they will.
I'm going to tell you. What I really learned my lesson is, and who I loan to and what I do, is I don't, and this sounds crazy, a lot of people that I give to now is normally people that I know will pay back. They've been doing right. And I see a behavior that is not the norm for them to even ask. Now, the ones that's always asking and the rest, see, them the ones that got me in the past.
Right.
So I'm not even quickly trying to give to a quick person that's going to give a scam of, this is what I need right now, Jay, and I need this right now. I'm to a point like, okay, I'm going to give this amount out, but I'm never going to give more than what I can give. Now, if I don't get it back between y'all, I'll be honest. I'm not giving out no more than what I can really make it on because I don't put my bills behind nobody. I don't look at y'all like that no more. Forget that. I got a little nest egg, and it's going to be within that nest egg, and I promise you, every time I go past that, it don't come back.
Man,
but when I stay under that, it comes back faster because I have to budget what I can't control. I can't control when they gonna pay it back.
Yeah,
just like my lawnmower. I ain't get it back. Luckily, I budgeted for another one because he wasn't gonna give it back.
Loving relationships and money just don't go together. So just need to word to the wise. Just pay close attention. This has been Bar Talk with Jay. Woo! My name is Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth J.
In the building.
We got Rob Diesel in the house, and of course
Queen Anonymous.
And
we want
to thank you. We want to thank you folks for being here with us tonight. It's always our pleasure to do this show. We're here every Thursday from 7 to 8, Facebook Live, and of course we're on every major platform. Please like, share, subscribe. And tell all your friends and family, and continue to come back and join us for some of this great, deep, loving wisdom that we share here on the show. With that, folks, we love you. We appreciate you, and with that,
We are out.